Hi, welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all of my quilty stitchy things. And today is my weekly update number 68, and it is June 30th, 2024. So it's been a couple weeks since I've done my weekly update. Normally my weekly updates I talk about everything I've done, worked on, completed, or just things that's happened throughout the week. However, this time it's going to be for a couple weeks. Now, the one weekend I did miss because my daughter graduated high school. We had a graduation party for her that weekend, and then I had my son that turned 16 like the next weekend, and it's just kind of been a lot going on. Plus, my daughter now has a job, which is interesting. She's only 17. She won't be 18 till next year or next month, but she also doesn't have a driver's license, so that means mom has to take her back and forth to work, which is about a half an hour away. So that's about 2 hours of my day each day that's just driving. And if it's a day I have to work, that means there's no sewing, quilting, crafty time. So it's been a little interesting to try and figure that out, but that's okay. We're working through it. We'll get it done. But that's where I've been. Now, I have had some exciting news. So Friday, it was one of those days my daughter had to work and then I had to work. So it was just a busy day. And I was at work in the evening and I got off early morning hours. And I look at my phone and I had no idea, but Sean, over the guy at Sews, thank you, shouted out my channel saying that I was close to 1,000. And so thanks, Sean. Sean is a very supportive and amazing person, and he's always quick to help and reach out to any of the new content creators to kind of help guide them. So Sean is, just a wonderful person, and thank you, Sean. So that was Friday night, and then Saturday I had planned on going to a quilt shop. It's about 2.5 hours away because I'd got an email that they were having a clearance sale, that their clearance was 75% off. And last time I was there, I got some fabric from like $3 a yard. So we went there. I didn't really find anything, but that's okay. But as we were going, I was paying attention to my subscriber count. And I also was watching the guy who sews, his lives that he does at 8 a.m. And then Saturday night, I hit my 1,000 subscribers. I am so excited and so happy. That's a goal I've been working on, and I did it. And at the time of this recording, I had 1,015. So thank you everybody that subscribed, watched, commented, liked. I really appreciate it. Now, what does that mean? As promised, that means I'm going to do another quilt giveaway. I'm going to give away a quilt. Now, that quilt giveaway is not going to happen in this video. But what is going to happen is I'm going to post a video sometime this week with a few quilts. I don't know, there'll probably be around 6 to 8. And I'm going to give away one of those quilts to one winner. The winner will have their choice of which one they want to win. So I will post, I think I'm going to call it like the 1,000 subscriber quilt trunk show. And you can look at, see if you're interested in any of those quilts. And then on my next weekly update, which will be July 6th, my weekly update 69, that's where you're going to enter. And I will tell you how to enter when we get to that weekly update. And then I will pick a winner the following week, which will be July 14th, which will be my weekly update 70. So look for that video coming out this week if you're interested in winning a quilt. There'll be different sizes and different things. A lot of those quilts will be the same quilts that I offered at my last giveaway, plus another 1 or 2 I'll throw in there. So now all those quilts are quilts that I have completed this year. And another reason I'm not going to do it this way is because for my daughter's graduation party, I took all those quilts, I put them in some vacuum sealed bags, stored them up away, so when we had this party there was no way anybody had any contact with those. So now I got to pull them all out and bring them out and tell you all about them again. So look for that video coming. And also, I do want to mention just a special get well to Lawayne from Sewing with Lawayne. I know he had mentioned he was going on a little bit of a hiatus because he'd been on in a little bit of a car accident. So I hope he has a speedy recovery. Now, so what have I done the last few weeks? Well, you know, I've still been working on stuff because I've always got to work on things. It's just my sewing time has been a little bit more diminished, but that's okay. We're still working around it. So, what have I done? Well, I did this quilt. And as many of you have seen this quilt and me working on it, this was part of the What Will I Make series. And that's just a series where I take some sort of pre-cut and add some other fabrics and make something, usually a quilt. Well, it's always been a quilt. And this was the roundabout quilt from Missouri Star Quilt Company that I used, using 2 charm packs, some background, and some border fabric. So I did a couple of videos on that. And then I did not get any long arm quilting done. It's just not working out. I thought maybe this summer it would work better, but it's just not. The long arm, even though I do long arm, the long arm is not at my house. It's at my parents' house. And my parents is, you know, 30-ish so minutes away. And with my daughter, 30 minutes or so having to get her in the other direction. That's, yeah, it's just not meshing. So I haven't been able to get over there to do any quilting, but hopefully, maybe once, hopefully my daughter can get her license next month, and then maybe we can see about getting back into the quilting. You know, I had posted at the beginning of the year, I had a goal to long arm 50 quilts this year. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But, you know, it's good to set goals. Sometimes we don't make them, but, you know, it's still good to try to reach them. But who knows what the rest of the year will hold. Okay, so what else have I done? Well, the last 2 weeks, I did put the binding on 2 more quilts. So I'll have my husband hang them up, and then we'll take a look at them and show you. So this is one of the quilts I put the binding on since my last weekly update. Now this was the, I think it was called Bliss Sew Along, and it was from the Sew Sampler box a couple years ago with their Block of the Month program. So we'll go in and take a look at the quilting and all that here in just a minute. Now I do want to say, I do apologize. I am having like allergies, issues, I don't know. So if you start seeing water, tears coming down my eyes, I'm really not crying. It's just the allergies are really getting to me. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so here we go, taking a little bit look at the quilting. When I quilted this, I had quilted this with this flower motif in there, and we'll come down, take a little look at it. As you can see, there's like a flower right there. Come over, work our way up. And like I said, it was just the binding that I did on this. That's everything else has all been done before. And I flip it over, and there's the back with the label right there. And there's the backing, which the backing was just from the called for kit that Fat Quarter Shop had offered. And this is the second quilt that I managed to put a binding on, although the binding's cut off on each side. But this is the Awakening quilt from Stephanie Ryan. And there is the pattern, and this pattern was like free at the quilt shop, and of course I just used the fabrics that was already chosen and did that. So here's kind of a look at it. We'll go in and take a closer look here in just a second. Let's kind of scoot out of the way there a little bit. Here we go. Okay, let's go a little closer and take a look at the quilting. Okay, so we are starting at the top, and we are going to work our way down. Now, I did use that same quilting pantograph that I did on that first one, the Bliss. We'll go over, take a little look at it, go from side to side and then down. And then I'll see if I can pick out a good flower. Let's see. Right in there, you can start to see a flower. There's some leaves there. Yep, there's some petals there because there's a flower. Yep, there's a flower right there. I see. Oh, sorry. And I did use that blue binding, the same there. Come back over. Now this did have this little piping that's all the way around it. So when I longed arm it, I did baste that down and then I pulled it back out. Okay, and let me flip it over and we'll take a look at the label and the backing. And there's a little look at my label and the backing that's on the back of it. So what else have I done as far as piecing? Well, you know I've done some more. So I've worked on this legendary quilt from Elizabeth Hartman. And I've got the center of that all done. I'm just basically have to add the outer border all the way around. Now I will say with mine, how these are all the same green, I use scrappy greens for the trees. So I'll show it, pull it out and show it to you. Now for all my new subscribers, just so you know, I am a pinner. I pin everything. It's kind of funny. I know it's kind of a joke that I have this big tin of pins that I'm sure you'll see on future videos. But I love pins. So you're going to see pins in this as I pull it out. So let's see. I have to back up here. Stand up. Like I said, there are my trees. Like I said, I did them scrappy. Hopefully you can see my Sasquatch block there. I can't really see it because it's over my head. And then we're coming down to the bottom there. So, I have the side borders like pinned on. I just have to take it to the sewing machine, sew it all the way down, and then add those top borders, and then that quilt top will be done. And the backing is going to be this backing. As you can see, there's the Bigfoot right there. And I have a Bigfoot or Sasquatch pantograph I'm going to quilt all over it when I get to it. Now this quilt actually my husband picked out when we went on vacation last year in Colorado. He saw it at a quilt shop and he really liked it. So I have a lot of fabric around here. A lot of fabric, a lot of patterns too. So when my husband finds something at a quilt shop, you just have to get it, right? Yeah. At least that's what I think. It gives me permission to buy. Not that I ever ask his permission anyway, but. Alright, let me show you what else I've been working on. Again, guys, I am so sorry. I have to keep stopping to wipe my eyes, and I don't know what happened with these allergies, but they're after me today. So what else have I worked on? Well, I worked on this Meet the Makers quilt pattern. This was from Riley Blake from a kid. I bought this several years ago, and I know there are video tutorials on Riley Blake's site, YouTube channel also, so I've been working on it. And there's basically 4 blocks and then an alternate block, so 5 blocks. So far I have got all the alternate blocks done. This is the alternate blocks. And we've got the different colors, the green, there's yellow, there's a couple different colors in here. There's another green. Purple. Pink. And orange. I think there's 25 alternate blocks altogether. But I got all the alternate blocks done. And then we have, let's see, what is block 1? Okay. And then we have block 1s, which I think there's 8 of these. And block 1s are all done. And then we're working on block 2. which block 2, if I can show you a little bit, is this block right here. So that I haven't got done. We're working on it. So I've got these little units that will go in the corners. And I think this goes, let's see. I don't know, that will create a half square triangle type thing. So we have those units that I'm working on, and then I've got some of these 2 patches that I've sewn together, and that. So that's as far as we've got on block 2. Now I do have all of these cut out, and I am working on them in some way. And then we got block 3, as soon as I can find a block 3. And this is block 3, and I am still working on making flying geese for block 3. So this is all the farther I've got on block 3. Right there, and that's for the bigger outer, and then the inner we've got right there. And then we have block 4, which would be over here. And there's block 4, and again, I'm working on those flying geese units still. So, bigger flying geese, smaller flying geese. So that is as far as I am on that quilt. I'm gonna put all those back. And then I worked on some of my Creative Notion subscription box. Now this is a box I no longer get, but I used to. And I worked on these. Now previously I had already done these 2 baskets. This is the smaller one. And this is the bigger one. I have a little bit of a fat quarter bundle in there right now. But I finished the other 2 baskets. So here's this little basket. I'm not sure I like this, but it just kind of comes up and ties. So I can put something in there. And here's the bigger basket that I made. And it has vinyl on the bottom. Some little handles. Lining. So I did that. And let me pull you out since I was done with that Creative Notion project. Now these are like a couple years behind, and I tend to do like my subscription box all in order. I pulled out the next Creative Notions project. So let's take a look at those. And this is the Creative Notions project I'm working on now. Now this is the January of 2022 box. So again, it's a few years behind. And the only thing I've really got done is, of course, I've cut everything out. And I've just started making some X's where I'm going to make a bunch of half square triangles. And that's basically all this is, either stitch in the flip or half square triangles. So I just started on this. Haven't got very far. And just because I have a lot of new subscribers, I work on things in a rotation. I don't do a project normally from start to finish unless it's when like I'm making a video like the what will I make with those turn packs. I normally like go in a rotation. I have my things set out on the bottom of a shelving unit, and I'll pull out one thing, I'll go to the sewing machine, and I have everything pinned ready to go. So I will sew everything through, and then I will go work on some other crafts, and then I come back and I do all my pressing and pinning for the next steps. and then I put that away. So then the next time I come on my sewing machine, I will pull out the next project in my line of rotation. And that's just how I work. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but that's what works for me, and I seem to get a lot of stuff done that way. I never get bored, and to me, every time I pull that out, it kind of gives me a fresh eye, because once I start working on a project, like long term, all at once, things kind of blur, and I don't always look at things the same way. So that's just how I do it. Like I said, everybody should do what works for them. I know that drives my mom crazy. She can't do all of that. She likes to work on one project at a time, but that's just not me. And I have, I think, about 12 to 14 projects in a rotation at any given time. And that's just with my quilting. Now, my other crafts I'll talk about in a minute. I usually only work on one of those at a time. Now, what else did I work on? Well, I worked on another creative notions project. I think this might be January or December 2021, no, that was January 22, so this was before then. So it might be like November, I don't remember exactly. Now, I don't have a color pattern, because at that time they hadn't given me a pattern, and I just asked them to email me one, and they did. So when I printed it out, it's in black and white. But this is the quilt that I'm working on. Home is where the heart is. I basically have all the individual blocks done, and then I have them pinned, the blocks pinned into rows. So here we go. So this is this first block, home. And just so you see, there's my pins. It's pinned together. So that's the first row. Home is this is the where. Where the is. And here's the heart, since we skipped over the heart. And there's the heart. So that's where we are with that. And then I also worked on a couple sew sampler projects that I will pull out here in just a minute. Okay, so I worked on this Magnolia quilt pattern. Now, this came in a sew sampler box. In the sew sampler box, they are patterned as a table runner. But there's also on the back directions for placemats and a lap quilt. Now, I'm just not much of a table runner person. I prefer a quilt. I want a big quilt. The bigger, the better. So, and this came with a petite jelly roll. But when I did the math, I had enough, could get enough from the jelly roll to do this quilt back here, which is 54.5 by 62.5. I mean, it's not big, but I like a quilt better than a table runner. That's just my opinion. I don't really use table runners, but a lot of people do, and that's okay. So now I had to add more background, but that's fine because I have bolts of just plain solid colors on hand at all times. So the background's usually not an issue, but since I could get enough pieces from the petite jelly roll, I'm doing this quilt here. So basically, there's two blocks. And again, I have these all pinned together. I still have to sew them. See, I've got tons of pins. And this is the one block. It's kind of hard to see because it's how it's pinned. But there's the one block. And I've got them all pinned together. A lot of people don't like pins, and that's fine. Everybody should do what works for them. I love pins, and to me, I find that actually it makes my sewing go quicker. It makes my seams match up, because I will sit here and I'll pin, and then once I go to the sewing machine, it is pedal to the metal, and I go zoom, zoom, zoom as fast as I can, and it's all done with the sewing part. And then I'll come over and do the other cutting, pressing, pinning, whatever. But that's just me. But everybody should do what works for them. And that is the other block. So those are the 2 blocks that consist of in that quilt, and that's where I am. And then I worked on another sew sampler project. Now, I normally do work on mini projects throughout the week. However, because this had basically been a couple weeks, there's a lot going on. And this is the last one I'm going to show you. I did work on some others, but I'm going to save that till next week because this video is already super long and I still got my cross stitch and crochet and diamond painting to show you. So here's where we are. I also worked on this swallow quilt pattern from Sew Sampler. Again, a couple years ago. I don't know which month it was. So here's where I am right now. I just need to do some stitch and flip down there at those corners to make that go over like this, which this is kind of the bottom of the birds. There. Bottom of the birds. And then I think these pieces are already done. These will go over here. And then these pieces are already done too. And this is the top of the birds. So this is where I am. I just need to do a little stitch and flip on that corner. And then I can start adding all those pieces to make those birdie blocks. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to show you for piecing for right now. Now let's move on to cross stitch. So I have been cross stitching these Country Cottage Needlework Sampler of the Month, and I am going to show you this. This is something I've done previously and how I'm finishing. This is my June and July's. So here's my June. It's fallen a little bit from where I was hitting it. Let me put it back up. This was my June's. This one like this little easel thing, and this is my July's. There we go. And this is how I'm finishing these cross stitch. Now these are on magnets, so I can just pull them out, magnets and washers, so I can internally change each month. So that's where I am. And I may have shown you August in my last video. I don't remember. I did get the stitching done in August, so I'm going to show you the stitching of August again. I still have to finish it, fully finish it. So there is August, and I'm waiting until I get October's done before I fully finish it, and I'll finish August, September's, October's all at once into like the little easel things with the magnets on the back. So that's August. And then I did finish my September. Here is September. And I've just started working on October. So can't see it well, but that's what October's looks like. Sorry, my hand's shaking. And here's where I am. Like I said, there's not a lot of progress. All you can see is I've just started doing white. Now this is on 14 count Aida, and this is all DMC floss. DMC is usually what I use. Every once in a while I may use a specialty floss, but it's usually just DMC. Just because it's cheaper. And in just my opinion, when it's all done, sometimes this variegated or hand-dyed frost can look nice, but when it's far away, you don't really pick up all the variegated, in my opinion. So I just prefer to go with the cheaper DMC. Just my opinion. Okay, so that is where I am in cross stitch, and let me show you where I am in crochet. Now I have been working on a cardigan, and I'll show you a picture of it. Now this pattern was from Lether Co. It's the Cabernet cardigan. Here's a picture of the cardigan. And yes, I know it's in black and white. Sorry, I only have a black and white printer. But there's what it looks like. Now this is done in a 1-weight or sock weight yarn, so it does take a while to go through. I've just been using this from Hobby Lobby that I bought on clearance a few years ago. Because I have so much yarn that I have bought from their clearance sales over the year. I'm trying to use it. Matter of fact, they just had a big clearance sale in June from the yarn, and I didn't even go to look because I need to use what I have. But here we are. I've got the back done, the front the side panels, the front panels sewn, and then I've sewn them together to the back panels, and I'm working on the sleeve. Here is the one sleeve. This sleeve is completely done. Got the cuff. I do have stitch markers still throughout it, but that's okay. And I am working on the sleeve over here. I've got the sleeve done. I just have to do the cuff on the end, and then I need to do the finishing lapel edging down here down through here for the closing. And that's where I am on that. So hopefully that should be done this week or next week. And what will be my next crochet project? Who knows? But I have lots to choose from. And last, my diamond painting. I have this diamond painting that I've been working on, and I finally got it done. Now I also have started on a new diamond painting, but I'm not going to show you that today just because it's not very much progress, so you can't really see much on it. So we'll wait until another time. So. There we go. This is my diamond painting. That is all done. All right. That's everything that I've worked on the past couple weeks. Until next time.